Yeah. Okay. We'll do that, and then I'll just trim a start and end point for this.
Okay. You want to give it just a couple of minutes? Let
Yeah,
people
yeah,
sign
we'll
up?
give people time to come in.
Do you have it with you? I can go ahead and
I don't have
measure it.
band.
Okay, I'll measure it. Okay, so we can get started. I mean, I can show you what it will look like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll measure. If you have it with you, I'll measure it. So
Okay.
that's it. It'll be my. It's gonna be. We have the right color. I can look it down. Sometimes cut bottom right now. It's like.
I can't imagine everything.
This is letting me know when you want me to get
Yeah,
started.
I'll say let's
For
So
years.
five
people like,
after.
yeah,
Because
5
I've
after.
seen there, like
That's
it's,
how long it's
Make sure
been.
it's
everybody
actually
got
on my
it.
task list,
Make sure
like
everyone's-
my Google, it's just right there, and I cleared it all, like, I don't know, last week or this week, whatever. How is it right? Anyway, I cleared it all at some point recently. This at the bottom, and I do it every single time.
Mhm.
Cause it takes effort. All that other stuff, it's like I knew what to do, and so I just did it. Cause it's like my work stuff, I just did it, but this one I would have had to like look up,
I know
figure
Robin
out,
said
and I
she
was
was-
like, oh, I'm doing that right now.
I know. I looked at it. That's what I was just telling her. I was like, I've looked at it several times. I even read this yesterday, this morning. I was like,
I know.
it stresses me out, so I just don't do it because I don't have time.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm gonna go. We're gonna do it.
Yes.
So Steve, I've got Janelle, Robin, also who's hopped online as well.
Okay, good. Yeah, it sounds like we got somebody else coming in too. So we're gonna give it till 10:05 and then we'll start.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Hi, Janelle. Hi, Robin.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
Hello.
I'm still in my pajamas. It's one of those mornings. It's been a busy
Anybody
day.
else lose
Now
power?
it's sun shining
Oh,
now.
nice.
Oh, did you
So
lose power?
I saw on Facebook that a lot of Blacksburg is dealing without power right now.
Uh-oh, I better call my dad.
Power.
I think it's like the Glade Road area, maybe.
Ah.
Yeah, we're off of Patrick Henry.
Okay.
No problem.
Too many issues. Traffic. There's a wreck.
Hey, Robin, I spoke to somebody that knows your husband yesterday, played football with him, Joe Boss. Does that sound familiar? Jim, maybe not.
Oh yeah, that does sound familiar. Where'd you
He's
run
up-
into him at?
He's gonna open up 2 restaurants in Blacksburg.
Oh, he's from Philly, right?
Yeah, he's gonna open up a pizza place called Weirdos,
Yep,
and then a
Weirdos,
night
yep.
spot. Yeah, he sounds like he's got a lot of energy and a lot of good ideas. So we'll see.
He does. Yeah, I heard he's a nice guy.
Yeah. All right, wanna go ahead and start?
Yep.
All right, I think we'll go ahead and start. We've got a few people in the room and a few on Zoom. Like to go around the room real quick and kind of everybody introduce themselves. But first of all, good morning and welcome to our Small Women and Minority Business Application process that Terri Welch has been so graciously committed her time to help everybody get through this process. So my name is Steve Baffuto, and I'm the President and CEO of Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. And I'm going to introduce Terri, who's sitting right next to me, and let her introduce herself and go from there. We'll go around the room.
Hi, guys. I think I know everybody here, but I'm Terri Welch. I'm the owner of Wine Lady Enterprises, which operates paint and fun ceramics and wine and design. And the reason I'm doing this is because my business is up for recertification. So I'm going through the process right now. And I already did the process 2 years ago. So I just wanted to share what I learned through that initial application process and what I'm learning even more now going through the recertification process.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Brown. I'm the mortgage loan originator for Summit Community Bank. I also own a little small business. I make candles on the side at WM Candles. They're soy wax with wicked candles. and wax melts. So just trying to learn some more information regarding that and just kind of be involved.
I'm Casey Blouse, and I'm the owner of Blouse House Creative. We do graphic design, paper printing, signs, vehicle wraps, all of that. And this has been on my to-do list for a long time, and I'm excited to finally be able to do it. So.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christina Rose, and I own Christina Rose Photography, and I do business branding and headshots and family stuff too, but mostly the other two.
I'm Nancy Phillips, and I'm one of the owners of Legacy Builders. We do custom design build homes.
All right, online, Robin, you want to start us out?
Yeah, no problem. My name's Robin. I'm COO at Jova, a design, marketing, and communication studio based here in Blacksburg. Super excited about this. I'm also co-chair on the Business Resource Committee with Terri. So shout out to you, Terri, for leading this. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else online, just chime on in. I can't see the list, unfortunately.
Hi,
Go ahead.
Janelle. Oh,
Yeah, no, go ahead, Janelle. I can
Okay,
see the list, so I
Janelle
was gonna
Anderson.
call people out.
okay. Yeah. I'm Janelle Anderson. I am a confidence coach for women entrepreneurs. My business is called Emerging Life Coaching. I help women entrepreneurs to create confidence, especially in speaking up and speaking publicly so they can get themselves out there. So I help them get on podcasts and summits and speak in front of the room and come up with their signature talk and all that cool stuff, and just generally help them feel more confident. I have courses in my mastermind group, and I just wrote a book, so I'm an author. Super excited about that, and I'm excited to be here and learn all about this. I've never even heard of it before, so I'm excited to learn today.
I am Tawana Rivera French, and I am one of the owners of Plot and French Financial Advisors. We have two offices, one in Radford and one here in Blacksburg. And I'm excited to learn more about the process here with SWaM, just because we had talked about it for a while and just kind of hadn't had the time to kind of focus on it. So I'm excited to learn more.
Let's see, we've got Katie with Wine Lab.
Yes, I'm Katie Pritchard with Blacksburg Wine Lab, and I just got the email and this sounded interesting, so I'm just here to learn a little bit.
Very good. And it looks like we just had Macklin join us. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick? We've been going around the room. Let's see, I can see him in the list. Oh, there we go. We're getting waves. Okay, and well, with that, I'll just run off real quick and say I'm Leo Pretty. I'm also with the Chamber. I'm online, and I'm doing my best to, from outside the office, help with any technical pieces we're moving today.
All right. And then we had
Yeah,
Sarah join us.
Yeah, Sarah, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Sarah Vaughn. Today I'm showing up as my third job. Vaughn and Associates is a financial planning practice, and I'm the one employee and president CEO.
Awesome.
Thank you. Welcome. All right.
Excellent. So we'll go ahead and get started. So a lot of people ask, why do I want to be SWaM certified? And the reason why is because the Virginia General Assembly set aside 30% of purchases for state organizations to be made through SWaM certified businesses. And it was to help level the playing field for small businesses, because these big, huge corporations were always getting the bids and they were always getting the business, and it was cutting out the small businesses. And so in its wisdom, the Virginia General Assembly passed a law that states that any state-run organization has to spend at least 30% of their annual spend with a SWaM certified business. A lot of the set-asides through these government agencies are specifically earmarked for micro businesses or woman-owned businesses or minority-owned businesses. And that's so that they can get that diversity in there. So although this seems like a really cumbersome process, it's well worth your time and effort. You still have to go after the business. You still have to contact those government agencies and look for those opportunities. But when you can say, I'm SWaM certified and my SWaM certification number is 722952, then a light bulb goes off with those procurement people and they're like, oh, I have to spend X amount of dollars every year with us. So now I can do business with you. So that's the benefit of doing it. So a small business just means that the business is at least 51% independently owned and controlled by one or more individuals who are US citizens. Woman-owned means that it has to be at least 51% owned by one or more women who are US citizens. Minority-owned means it has to be at least 51% owned by one or more minority individuals who are US citizens. And then they break it down further into micro businesses. So if you're certified as a small business, you can also be certified as a micro business. If you are SWaM certified, you have no more than 25 employees and no more than 3 million in average annual revenue. I would say a lot of businesses in the NRV qualify as micro businesses as well. And then they also have another special designation under the SWaM certification called Service Disabled Veterans. And so veterans who are small business owners can also obtain that Service Disabled Veteran Owned status in the SWaM vendor database. It's not a separate certification, but it does elevate your opportunities. So the more certifications, the more designations that you can get within that SWaM certification, the more opportunities that you will have. I can tell you, I do business with Virginia Tech and it's a pain in the rear because they don't like to pay up front and you got to wait 30 to 60 days to get paid by them. But they're typically larger contracts. So it does help your business, and they utilize SWaM certification in their spend since they're state funded.
Can I add something to that?
Absolutely.
The agency that I came from before coming on with the Chamber, Virginia ABC, one of the requirements that we had was that we had to use a SWaM vendor first if we needed something. So we would have to go on the website and you could search in your area to see if there was a SWaM vendor. And just for an example, like Thompson Tire is owned by a female. And so we had to get our cars repaired, we would call Thompson Tire first before we would call any other mechanic in the area. So this is a state agency. And you're talking about 20 or 30 vehicles that we had to go to a SWaM vendor first before we could call out anywhere else. And that was with any item. Anything I needed to purchase, I couldn't just run to Walmart. I was required, like you said, to go to a SWaM vendor first.
But it doesn't mean that you have to use them. If they're higher price, you don't have to use them.
Well, no, that we would pay higher price.
What's the limit? What's the?
Well, we would go through our procurement, but if I needed something and a SWaM vendor offered it, then we were required to go to them, even if it was a higher price.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sometimes you can negotiate and come up with, if it was like a large quantity or something like that, but we were required to go to a SWaM vendor.
A lot of state agencies are required to utilize SWaM vendors first, just because of what happened in the Virginia General Assembly and because of the large volume or the large dollar amount that they spend overall. It's because there's some things that just small businesses can't offer. So if a percent that is, for these big corporations, then everything else has to go through SWaM in order for them to meet that 30% payout.
What's the penalty for not meeting the 30%?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Nothing. I don't. Unfortunately, I know they're trying to get stricter on that to answer your question, but I think that's part of, I know they're trying to get stricter on that.
All right. So the easiest way to, and I can tell you over the last 2 years, the SBSD has really streamlined the application process. It was so long and cumbersome. I think it took me probably a total of 15, 16 hours 2 years ago of research and all kinds of things and documentation gathering and everything in order to do this. But they have truly streamlined it and made it possible to do this all online. So you do want to go to the SBSD.Virginia, spelled out, .gov website, and you click on certification. So Leo, can you show them that? So SBSD.Virginia.gov, and then right beside About Us is certification, and then there is the SWaM that pops up in the drop-down menu. And that will give you all the information. I did, for everybody that's here, I printed out a list of all of the documents that are required. It looks cumbersome, but honestly, it's just stuff that you're gonna have. I mean, you do have to have proof of US citizenship, which basically is your birth certificate. So have a copy of your birth certificate, your DMV driver's license. If you have a passport, you can utilize a passport instead. You just have to be able to prove who you are and that you're a US citizen.
Can you, one quick question, what do you click on once you get to the website?
Once you get to the website, in the bar see where the arrow is there, it says About Us, and then the second one says Certification Division, yes. And then the drop down, you'll see SWaM. And there's a handy dandy video there. It is 31 minutes long. You can, I know that's a lot of time for a small business owner. And I did watch the whole thing, but you can scroll through like the parts that don't apply to you. So if you're not a corporation, skip all that. If you are a sole proprietor, the application process is a lot more simple than if you are an LLC or an S Corp. So it depends on how you file your taxes, what information you're going to have to provide. But everything else is pretty simple. I mean, you do have to provide them with a copy of your tax return. So everybody probably just filed their tax return. And then the front page of the previous 2 years. Now, if you haven't been in business for at least 3 years, obviously you can't provide that. So when I first did my certification, I had just started in business. I only had the current year tax return. So that's all I had to provide. If you took out a loan to start your business, then that's another way. You can just give them the front copy of your loan documentation. If you didn't take out a loan, if you just use your own bank account, just send them, print out a copy of your bank statement and circle the amount of your own funds that you use to start your business. So you don't have to try to make it complicated. They do ask for a resume. If you haven't created a resume recently, just throw one together. They don't really look very closely at that, honestly. They just want to know that you're legit. They're not looking for somebody who's operating a hobby and they want to call it a SWaM certified business. So if it's a legitimate business, you're making a profit, or your goal is to make a profit in a legitimate business, then apply for the SWaM certification.
I believe you have to be full-time in this one business.
No, you do not have to be full-time. If you have any professional licenses or permits, so for example, for a financial planner, you would have your certifications and your designations. You could just print out a copy of that certificate and attach it. I can tell you now that everything is online. I had to do everything on paper and I had to mail everything in. It was a pain in the rear. But now you can just create a folder in your own drive that is for SWaM certification and just drag and drop your documents into that folder. And then there's a place on the application, on the online application, you just upload those documents. It makes it so much easier now than having to print out everything to make sure that you've got it all and to send a manila envelope to them that's this thick. You don't have to do that anymore because they made it easy. If you, so professional licenses, if you're a corporation, then you have to have your certification of incorporation or your articles of incorporation. Most of our small businesses in this area though are not. So that's, you just don't worry about that. LLC, you do have to have articles of organization for your LLC. And if you're a single member LLC, basically it just says, you just have a statement that says, I'm operating as a single member LLC, my EIN is, and that's pretty much all you need.
Wait, what do you mean? Do we get that from the website?
What, your articles
Or
of,
do we have, is that something we have to write up?
you just write it up.
Okay.
There are templates all over the internet for articles of incorporation for articles of organization for an LLC. And for single member LLCs, it's kind of just a step above a sole proprietorship. So you basically just have to state that you are a single member LLC. And that you authorize your organization, or that you are authorized to sign on behalf of your organization.
How do they treat sole proprietors?
The same way they do LLCs. I mean, if you're a sole proprietor, then you're still, you still can be SWaM certified.
Okay.
You just have more liability than an LLC, basically.
Excuse me, I have a quick.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I just have a quick question. So I'm Macklin, I'm with the RSPDC here in Roanoke, and I'm still learning the ropes on a few things, especially with SWaM specifically. And I just wondered, you may have said this at the beginning, I was like a few minutes late coming in, but I know I've had clients who I've been sharing the link of SWaM with. So my clients, so I work with minority small businesses. But I know some of them wondered, like, what does this do for me? Like, what is in this for me in going and, you know, applying for a SWaM certification?
Yes, so Macklin, we did talk about that a little bit in the beginning, but just a brief overview is that the Virginia General Assembly requires state-run organizations to utilize SWaM vendors for a minimum of 30% of their accounts payable. So that's what's in it for these small businesses. It gives them more opportunity. They still have to seek out those opportunities, but a lot of organizations, and just like Steve was saying, the ABC is required to call a SWaM vendor first. So for his example, he used Thompson Tire, which is a SWaM vendor. That's who they had to call to get all of their tires for their vehicles for ABC. All right.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, I did kind of hear that then.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure, but that's okay, perfect. That's awesome.
Should have been turned off. All right, so you do have to have a current business license, so make sure your business is registered in the town that you, or the town or the county or wherever you live, or wherever your business license is required to be. I know some businesses, even if you're out of state, I have people trying to call me, sorry. Put it on.
Where are you? Where does it say business license?
Additional required documents.
For sole proprietorship.
Yes.
Okay.
What about for an LLC? Do you still have to send that documentation?
I did, and I'm listed as an LLC, and I had to send my business license. They requested it. Excuse me one second. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I thought I had done that, but there we go. Okay. If you are a franchise, you do have to send them a copy of your franchise agreement, which can be cumbersome because my franchise agreement for Wine and Design is like 400 pages. It's ridiculous. And I had to mail that to them. Thank goodness I can just upload it this time. If you are a partnership, you do have to have a copy of your partnership agreement. So if you're in business and you have partners, make sure that you have a copy of that agreement. And then proof of your EIN, which is basically just the letter you got from the IRS that says you're doing business and what your business name is and your EIN. They can request additional documentation, but if you just provide them with these simple, it's about 8 to 10 documents that you have to provide. And if you provide them all that, it's likely they're not going to ask for anything else unless you're on the cusp of, you know, being from small business to large business. But a small business can be any business that has 250 or fewer employees and 10 million or less in gross receipts over the last 3 years. So averaged over the last 3 years. So that's, to me, pretty big business. I mean, so you can be a pretty large business and get SWaM certified.
How long does it take?
The average is about 60 days.
And so you have to, you talked about renewing, you have to renew it every 2 years?
I think it is every 3 years. Because I think I had mine 3 years ago. Or it might be 4. Unless they've changed it. Is that on the website there, Leo? How often you have to renew?
A great question. I'm gonna stop share and go and check.
Okay. Because I forgot to look that up. They do send you a notification. So I've gotten multiple emails. I also got emails because I do business with Virginia Tech. I got an email from the Virginia Tech Small Business and Supplier Diversity Department to remind me that I needed to renew my SWaM certification. So not only does the SBSD send you that reminder, but if you do business with certain state agencies, then they will also send you a reminder. At least Virginia Tech does.
I'm not sure how I can assist here, but it's the same 5 years, the 5-year term for your SWaM certification.
Okay, so it does say 5 years. All right. So it's every 5 years. Wow, I didn't realize that. But I guess so. I was in business 6 years ago and I didn't apply for it right away. It was after I had been in business for just a little bit that I found out about it and applied for certification. So it seems like a cumbersome process, but it's really not. If you just gather your documentation in advance, just put them in a folder on your computer and then go to sbsd.gov, .virginia.gov, sorry. And everything is right there. It'll walk you through it step by step. And so when you go into the application process online, it tells you what to do next. So you just answer a question, upload a document, answer a question, upload a document. So it's super, super simple now. It was crazy hard when I first applied, but they really have streamlined this process and made it easy for businesses to be able to do this.
So then how do you get business? How do you get up on the directory or whatever?
From there, then that's a whole nother conversation, but you can register with EVA, which is the Virginia Procurement System. It's a little EVA. And that doesn't cost you anything or take any time. Basically, you just register your business and then you can put in commodity codes, which are kind of a pain in the rear to look up, but that gets you in the system. And then you'll start getting emails from state agencies on RFPs that they are putting out. And then you can look and see, does that apply to me? Is this something that I can do? I've been working with this at the state level because my business doesn't have enough commodity codes to be able to accurately, so I get a bunch of junk that I don't need. And it's just because the kind of business I'm in is completely different. So I'm working on with them to add additional commodity codes. But financial planning is in there.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And I imagine that you can pick any commodity code you really want because your business might have a basic description, but your business practice is A through Z.
Yes, yes. So you can have multiple commodity codes. I have like 10 different ones. Some of mine are art installation, education, training. So I get a lot of training things that I really can't do, but you'd be surprised at how many different things that you can put in there. So if you even think that it's something that you might be able to entertain, then add that commodity code.
And for Virginia Tech, that's a separate process. They certainly have access to EVA,
Yes.
but they have their own department, sub-department.
They have what they call Hokie Mart.
Mhm.
And so you can get registered with Hokie Mart, and that again is another training session, but it's a way that you can find out what business and how all those different departments at Virginia Tech can find out about your business is for you to be listed with Hokie Mart.
Do you think Radford is something similar to that?
I've asked and I have not found anything like that. Radford does utilize the EVA system.
What about New River?
I haven't reached out to New River.
Mhm.
But I do know that, and be prepared, because if you do business with Radford University, they utilize the EVA system, and EVA charges a percent. So of whatever that RFP was. So if it's $5,000, then you're gonna pay EVA $50.
Yes, so don't be surprised by that bill.
Yeah, you will get a bill for that.
After. Yes,
I
you
would think
will.
most people use EVA. I know we do.
Yeah, a lot of
But
the
you don't
state
have to
agencies.
use EVA,
No,
is what you're talking about.
right, you don't have to, but if
Some
that
of them
is-
require you to.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure that because everything that I do with Radford University goes through EVA, and my payment comes through EVA, so they send me that bill. And you can go online and pay that too. Any other questions? Hey, Macklin, do you have anything to add since you're with SBDC, Roanoke?
No, not at this moment. I would say, like well, for me, I meet with my, clients, or whatever. And I work with minority small businesses. So I would just say, if anything, like if you know of any clients and they want to work with SBDC or anything like that, it comes to us, free services, all those types of things. It's absolutely free. And we can even walk with them through their SWaM certification as well. So if there's a client or a business that needs help with that as well, we can also assist in that too, along with other things as well, training programs, all those things. In fact, I think we have another SWaM training coming up virtually for clients to attend. I want to say it's maybe June. I think it's June or July. Give me 1 second. I'm going to look quickly.
Yeah, if you could share that date and time with the Montgomery County Chamber so they can.
Actually, it's June 2nd.
Oh, so it's
Yeah.
next week.
Yep. So I'm actually gonna put that in the chat right now. So it is free. They can just jump on in. There you go. Yep. So it's absolutely free to attend. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Macklin and Cheryl and Kate with the SBDC, they come down to the chamber, and if y'all want to schedule meetings, they use the facility. And they've been very gracious on coming down here and meeting with clients and stuff like that. So.
Yep, there's no problem. And that's the cool thing too. So like we can either meet at the chamber, or if need be, we do virtual sessions as well. So if someone wanted to meet with us, it's very easy just to do a Zoom, and we can set it on up, or a phone call. That's totally fine too.
So let's say that Dominion Energy is going for a quote for an RFP with the state. and they need subcontractors. The subcontractors that are SWaM will feed up and fulfill the state's requirements of 30%.
Yes. Yeah, so as long as that 30%, and like Robin was saying, they don't have a real enforcement of it, but they're working on that, working on enforcing, making sure, and different agencies have different levels of enforcement. Like ABC was pretty strict on.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with Terry on that.
And
Yeah, because some agencies can be penalized in terms of access to federal funding, like a Virginia Tech, whereas other agencies may not have, as much federal funding as others, so harder to penalize.
does it cost anything to be on the EVA?
No.
But it'll cost you if you.
Right, if you do
If you
business,
quote.
right. If
Or
you,
you have to do business, then you pay, or?
yes, only
just
if you, no, only if you get the contract,
Gotcha.
then you pay a percentage of whatever that contract amount was.
So is there like a list of like other places we can reach out to? I know like other than EVA or like tech separate, or most of them just go through the EVA to get the RFPs and stuff like that?
Yeah, most of them go through EVA, and the Ariba system that EVA is built on is not as user-friendly. They've been working on it over the last 2 years, and I can say it's better than it used to be, but it's still not great. But it's the system that they have. And
What about federal contracts?
this is just through the state of Virginia. So with federal contracts, there is a federal certification. It's an 8A 8A certification, which is very similar to Virginia. It's how Virginia's SWaM certification was developed, is through this federal, and you can apply for that, but it's a separate application.
And every state has their own, is that true?
No, every state doesn't. So Virginia is very progressive in SWaM certification. I've tried to help because wine and design is national. I've tried to help other wine and design owners, and their states, not all states have something similar to this SWaM certification. Some do, but most of them don't. So we're pretty lucky in that Virginia is dedicated to helping small businesses.
And so only really the cost is if you get the contract.
And only if it goes through EVA.
Yeah.
So
So
Virginia
even
Tech
Virginia
uses
Tech.
Virginia Tech uses.
To register, to get to be a SWaM though.
No, it doesn't cost you anything to register to be SWaM certified, other than your time, of putting that together. But there's no fee for becoming SWaM certified. Yeah, so all it is really is just a dedication of your time.
So just to make sure, because I feel like we've had questions, the EVA, so if you go on EVA and get a contract, like you send a quote through there, but if they don't process it through EVA, you might not have to pay. Does that happen sometimes, or is
Yes.
that, okay. I'll just make sure.
Yeah, but like take Virginia Tech, for example, they have a different system, and it depends on which department it goes through. So sometimes I get paid through the Virginia Tech Foundation, but other times I get paid through a department, and that department utilizes a third-party processor, which charges a fee. And so that fee comes out of my money that they pay me. So it really just depends.
So it's a good question to ask when you're quoting stuff.
Yes.
When you quote things, do you put a line item saying EVA fee?
They don't allow it.
They don't allow.
They won't allow, I mean, the fee, I think in my opinion, Terry, you can chime in, the fee is minimal in
It really is.
comparison to the
I mean, if
contract. Generally speaking,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be concerned. I wouldn't let that be a barrier. I would set aside, it's like 10, it's a set fee, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a set fee. It's a 1% fee. So for example, I use the example of $5,000, you pay a $50 fee. Is it worth it to you to pay $50 to get a $5,000 contract? For me, absolutely. For somebody else, it might not be. So you have to weigh that out. And is it worth it to you to get that business? And not all of them charge it. Not all of them go through EVA. You know, I just know that 90% of the departments at Radford University utilize EVA, and more they're making them do that. But if I have a 200-person event and it's, you know, $3,000 and I have to pay $30, it's no big deal.
Give you all a little bit of kind of insight onto this, because I worked at Virginia Tech previously in a finance capacity. It has to do with their funding. So the departments use state money. So that's why they're charging that fee. So they have to go through that. When you're paid from the foundation, that's money that's coming from outside of the university. So there's less restrictions on it. So you're not paying anything from there. So that's to kind of give you a little bit of an idea. They have no control over it because it's dependent on their funding and it's state regulated.
Yeah, that's why sometimes at Virginia Tech, I pay the fee, sometimes I don't, just depending on where they're getting their
But
money
if it's multi-million-dollar contracts, then it's tens of thousands of dollars of fees, potentially, if it's 1%, is that correct?
potentially. Not for me, because I don't get this kind of contract. But yeah, one day, that's right. Yeah, but it could be, I mean, and so a much larger organization, I mean,
Like
really,
if
you
you're a
can't.
subcontractor to Dominion, Dominion's not gonna charge you that.
Probably
Right.
not,
Yeah, that makes sense.
because Dominion is not gonna fall under a SWaM certified business. They're gonna utilize SWaM vendors in order to meet their minimum to get that state or federal contract, but they're not a SWaM
Yeah.
certified business
Yeah.
themselves, so. And they've probably already got that built into their pricing. I mean, if Dominion is doing a $20 million project, they've probably already got all of those extras built in. If you're a little tiny business like mine, for example, and you're just doing a 200-person event, you know, that $30 or $50 or whatever it's gonna cost me is just a cost of doing business. All right, any other questions? If anybody needs help with gathering their documentation, if you have questions, I mean, the list is pretty simple to follow, but if you see something on there and you're not sure, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Everybody can reach me at either Christiansburg at wineanddesign.com or info@paintandfunceramics.com. And I'm happy to answer additional questions.
So is this, will it have like, let's say, I am blah, 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 upload your certificate of organization existence information here?
Yes, it'll let you know based on the type of organization that you put, that you are, it will tell you step by step. Hey, Leo, can you pull up that, the website again?
Sure thing. Let me make sure I'm pulling up the right page. I got way too many tabs open. Okay, can y'all see this?
Yes.
All right, and then
So-
if you go down to, click on the link below to go to the application portal, oh, you just passed it.
This is what happens when we're
It's a
trying to do
little
stuff.
blue, right there, stop,
Bam.
certification application, yes.
Let's see what happens. Oh, there we go.
All right, and then it'll give you the portal instructions. But to begin the process, hit the button that says certified, that certificate.
Yeah.
And then you can either log in or register. So just click that little certified tag, that logo there.
Let's see what happens. Okay,
And
yeah,
this
there
is
we go.
where you either log in or register. So if you're already certified and you need to renew your application, you're gonna log in because you already have that. But otherwise you just register. There's no cost to register. And then it'll take you complete it, and it walks you step by step through that.
On,
So it's thank you for that.
what did you click on? Okay, we're on,
svsd.virginia.gov.
yes,
Click on the certification.
division, yes.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And then SWaM.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then scroll down and there'll be a place that says certification application. And it's a couple of clicks to get to the place where you really need to be,
Okay.
which is kind of a pain. But it's still better than it used to be, trust me.
It's like these portal instructions that's
Take
like,
you to Google Doc.
yeah, but it's
Yeah.
very detailed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
why.
that's
the
the one that takes 16 hours.
yes, is to go through that. But honestly, the application itself tells you what you need to do step by step. So like when I went in to do my renewal application, it said, upload driver's license, upload passport or birth certificate. And you just click and drag your, if you've got all those documents in a folder on your computer, you just drag them over and upload them. And it's a very quick process. It might take you an hour. Once you get all your documents together. It might not even take that long if you have all your documents together.
Okay.
I think it took me an hour because I was answering phone calls and distracted and, like small business owners are, we multitask regularly. So it might seem like it takes a long time because you're doing other things, but
Can you pause or save your application if you like start
yes,
it?
absolutely. You can, and you can go back to the point where you were.
Terry, is there any deadline or is just open enrollment kind of a thing where anytime you want to apply, or is there some kind of deadline or something?
No, not that I'm aware of. If you are a small business or woman-owned or minority-owned business, you can apply at any time. You just have to provide them depending on how long you've been in business. So if you've been in business a year or less, you only have to provide them with a current tax return. But if you've been in business 3 years or more, then you have to provide them with a full copy of your current tax return and then just the first page of the previous 2 years' tax returns.
I just want to say thank you, Terry, for doing this. It's been really, really helpful.
Well, I hope everybody gets SWaM certified. It is worth it. It seems like a pain, but it does give you that leg up and a foot in the door, which all of us as small business owners are looking for all the time.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, and with that, we'll be taking this recording and I'll be trimming it down in the next couple of days to making sure that this is available to everyone. We'll also make sure that we're sending a lot of the links that we discussed here today as well.
All right, thanks, Lou. And we're also going to have another meeting with the Business Accelerator next month. I'm not sure the topic, but I'll make sure I send an email out to everybody and make sure you're checking the chamber website for updates. And I appreciate everybody attending today. If you have any questions, just send me an email. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.